Hello everyone, welcome to The Beauty Matters with me, Lin Hussin on ALB UK TV. Today we have a very special guest. Her Highness Sayyida Basma is the founder of Whispers of Sonority Clinic. The clinic is the first private specialized mental health and well-being clinic in Muscat, Oman. She is a mental health consultant and a psychotherapist. She has 20 years of experience seeing and treating patients with a wide range of disorders. Her Highness is a champion of mental health awareness. She regularly participates in events to raise awareness on mental health issues and how to deal with patients suffering with mental health issues. Today, Her Highness Sayyida Basma is joining us to discuss the effect of social media upon mental health. Hello, Sayyida Basma.
Hello, Lynn. How are you? How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I hope you're all doing well over there in the UK.
Yeah, we're all trying to stay safe and
That's good.
Sayyida Basma, you are a psychotherapist.
Yes.
With 20 years of experience.
Yes.
Would you tell me a bit more about what you do, please?
Okay, so I have the first mental health clinic of its kind in the Sultanate. I work in my clinic, and also I own something that's called Serene. So my clinic is called Serenity, Whispers of Serenity, and something called Serene. Serene is new age therapy. So I have old age therapy and then new age therapy. As in, when I say old age, I mean the typical, and then the new age is in art and music, using it with therapy. I also have a campaign called Not Alone, and I also do a lot of engagements where I do motivational speaking, where I help out with certain topics. I have also a small show that I do as well called Sitting with Basma, and also I've done a lot of articles. So anything to do with mental health, it's something that I would run to and like be very engaged with it.
So you are the best person to tell us about mental health. You have enough knowledge to talk to us and give us advice. Sayyida Basma, I chose the topic of mental health, the effect of social media on our mental health.
Yeah.
As now we kind of connect through social media. It's becoming quite a big part of our life. But in a way, there are studies showing it can be harmful. So what do you think about that?
So social media, before all of this that happened, we used to always say, please limit yourself in not using a lot of hours of social media, try and do other things and all of that. And social media has two sides to it, okay? One side, yes, it's very useful, and we get a lot of knowledge. Is connecting us all around the world, especially in times like this. On the other side, because we're human, there's the good and the bad, and there's the kind and there's the bullier. So we have to interact with all these kind of things. And because also social media is available for every age, sometimes the topics that's on it could affect some of the, for example, if it's teenagers or kids. And also not everybody who's following social media will be in his right mind sometimes. So maybe they're going through an anxiety, depression, or OCD, or low self-esteem, and then they would see something on social media that would provoke it. So it has to be dealt with in the right way. If it is, there's always a good and bad in everything in the world, and social media is that as well.
So social media have, when we say like a negative effect, it can be through comments or through like people who like reach to you in a negative way, spread negativity really. Do you have like any advice of how you can protect yourself?
Yeah. So as much as it spreads negativity, but it also spreads positivity. Something maybe you said earlier on, so you might be the right person for us to ask. I still am learning, literally, even though with the 20 years, and I'm learning a lot about social media. I'm learning its effect as well. And I'm learning also its positive and its negative. So when we come to negative, a lot of times, for example, would say there's a lot of bullies behind the screen. And sometimes they'll say things that are very, very hurtful. I mean, now Mental Health Week has thought about the topic is being kind. To that extent, we've forgotten how to be kind, although kindness is one of the first things we're taught since a very, it's the first principles we're taught since a very young age. We actually shouldn't be reminded. It should be something automatically that we should do. But we do find people being mean, being bullies, and especially in social media, because nobody knows who's behind the screen. Nobody knows how to get to that person. So the person who's being the bullier or who's being not that kind has actually issues that he or she are going through, and they are trying to project that pain or the anger or the hate to others, because for them they feel, I'm going through something, others should go through it too. Now when I'm on the other side, I'm already weak in that point, so I have low self-esteem, for example, or I'm not really happy with things, and I get someone like that, it's like it feeds that thing, and it makes things work out not so well. It makes a person think about, for example, to hurt themselves. We have a lot of teens who want to hurt themselves because people are saying hateful things. And when we talk about social media, we're not just talking about Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, all these platforms, exactly, Facebook. And especially when it comes to kids in school, they bully each other through this. And they could actually really, make a group and bully one person through social media. And because social media is so fast, I mean, once you put something there, it goes everywhere. Before, by the way, these things used to happen even before. But before, people used letters. And the letter would be for one person. But social media is for one person, but everyone sees it, or 10 people are sending one message. So it's the same. It's just the generation has changed, technology has changed, and I'm sure in the years to come, there will be other things coming up. So again, when you go back to social media, it's got two effects. A positive part, which we are like today, we're using a platform to spread knowledge and all of that. And it also could be a negative platform where people are talking about things that could hurt others.
We will come to the point of self-confidence, which is really important part. But as we are talking about the effect of social media, I want to focus more about beauty, as my show is Beauty Matters. So when ladies start to compare themselves with others, or they start to try to change how they look because they want to, like, I would say a bit copy, or because they have a certain image on their head. So it's kind of hard. Yeah, of course, we can get the benefit out of social media. We have very inspirational people who we can look up for and follow. But also the other side, that's the side I want to focus on, that there are harms happening with social media.
Yes. I'll tell you personally a story that happened to me. And I'm telling you the story because I'm trying to think of it if somebody else heard this story.
Yeah.
So basically, sometimes, so I do a lot of clips, for example, about motivation, about therapy, about whatever things. And usually there are topics that are quite to the point and helpful. So I don't just go on the screen and just pause and all of that. I have something to give, because when I opened my social media, that was my idea. I have to give back. And this is a way to give back, of course, not to be dry and boring, but it's a way to give back. I have a goal. Yeah. So basically, when I started putting it, so I would get comments. Some were good, some were not so good, and that's okay. But some were extra. So we have the good and not so good, which is fine. Not everybody will love you in the world. I mean, that's normal. But I would get something like, oh, you know what? I think you should go and do an operation for your nose. And I would be talking about something so serious, and somebody would put that in the bottom. And for the longest time, I would just block it or whatever, But then I thought of it, no, this is not helping the cause. Because if I block him, okay, he will go and hurt someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else, because that's what they do. I can take it in a way where I don't really care, because I have that kind of self-esteem. I have that kind of way to deal with it. But someone else will not have that. It will hurt them. And that was my point. So recently, when somebody wrote that, very random. I mean, you have something so important and, oh, go and do, what's that got to do with what we're talking about right now? So I actually asked the person, and I think he got shocked. I asked him, so how do you feel when you said this? I really want to know how you felt. I think it shocked him because I'm sure he thought either I'll block him or either someone else will follow up. So something else happens in social media. It's very interesting to watch. If somebody says something bad, and then the other person says it, and then the other person says it, and it becomes a big trail. And some influencers, I've noticed, they leave those things because they want that, followers.
He was coming.
Even though it's really bad things, but as much as for them, I have followers.
Yeah.
So with me, I asked him, what do you think? And he went quiet. And then he went into the inbox and said, oh, did you get upset? And I was like, why are you writing it here? Go and write it there. Let's continue our conversation. The thing is, he didn't stop. For me, if somebody says they're sorry, that's okay. But he actually said, yeah, I think after Corona, you should go to Lebanon and do your nose. So he continued. And then he said, it's because you're a woman and, makeup can maybe help you. And he was giving me all this, and it was really random. And I got that. And once another woman also said, it's because society teaches us to be like this. I'm not a bullier, but society pressures us. So look at the idea that they have. And it's because we're quiet. It doesn't mean we have to fight them, but we have to deal with them because we have to stop this bullying. Because when you don't stop a bullier, what does he do? He continues. He just goes on and on and on.
But you are someone who's confident, so you dealt with it.
Yeah.
It's not you.
Exactly. And that's my point. That was exactly my point. You can't be boasting about something and say, guys, you have to have confidence. Guys, and then you just let someone attack you. Because then if another person is watching, a younger person, a girl that's following you, a girl or a guy that's following you, they'll be like, oh, look, I need to also build my confidence. We shouldn't let this happen. But if I let it happen to me, then they'll say, oh, see, it happens to everyone. We should just take it. So basically, if you have confidence, you can help others by showing them that this is what we can do.
Yeah.
In this way. Because if you fight someone, then someone else will have, the courage. But if you're scared and you're showing that you're scared, others who follow you or who watch you or whatever will feel the same. And having confidence is something you learn from a very young age. You learn it from your environment. You learn it from your family. But then when you're older and you still feel you don't have courage and you didn't learn it, you need to now change. You can't stay in the same place. So why I did this to this person, because I thought today if he hurts me, tomorrow he'll hurt someone else and they won't be able to fight back. They won't be able to say anything and they might just go and do those 101 operations, and it will never finish. And then we'll end up to depression or suicidal thoughts. Yeah. And that's what happens, exactly.
So we mentioned, we talked about confidence in general, and you get it when you are through your childhood, through your family. But if someone doesn't have it and they try to listen from here and go and fix themselves and go and change yourself, and also people are looking through their platforms and seeing different kind of perfection for them, for perfect photos.
Yeah.
So then, is there a way of how do you build your confidence if you are in that level, if you are there?
Okay. So as you said build your confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Build it. So it's not something that happens, in a day.
Yeah.
You can't build a house in a day unless you're really, 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 really good and you have a big, big team. So building takes time. The first step to building anything is actually acknowledging that you need to build it. Okay? Yeah. But if you just stay and think, oh, I can't do it. Oh, look at them and look at me. That could stay on. And some people will tell you, I can't. Even if you say, let's try, they just block it. These people like this, you can't help them, by the way. They have to start helping themselves. If you see a glimpse of hope that they will help themselves, then you can carry on with it. But you can't help someone who does not want to help themselves. You can't. That's never happened. And there is no magic pill that does that. There is no magic potion that does that. There is, I feel I need to change. That's the first step. Just saying that to yourself, I need to change.
It's the first.
Exactly. But if you stay and just think, oh, I can't, it's because she's so and so, oh, it's because it's nothing to do with that. As much as you feel you have confidence, but sometimes you're a human, it will hurt you. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, I'm like, whatever, I'm unbeatable, I have a wall and that's it. No, it does hurt. But the difference is I deal with it. And that is the idea, that you need to learn how to deal with it. It's not about I'm powerful and I'm strong. It's about how do I deal with it? Everybody deals with things differently.
Okay.
Some people maybe will answer. Some people will maybe talk to someone about it. The wrong thing to do is just keep it internally. That is something you should never do.
And you do lots of campaigns to raise awareness in the community. So can you tell me a bit more about the recent things you did?
Okay, so with Not Alone, Not Alone is a campaign that's been running for 5 years. Yeah. And I always call it my dream campaign because I always felt that my clinic has to give back to society. And how can we do that? So basically, we've done so many events, honestly. We've done things called Not Alone Stories, where people with real stories, for example, people who feel they don't have confidence or wanted to attempt to hurt themselves or suicidal attempt, they would talk about it. And that itself is a hero. To be able to talk in front of a group in a conference, for example, that's a big thing. Yeah. So those, we have done a convoy that we've moved throughout Muscat, in every part of it, talking about mental health. We've used music, we've used art, we've done a conference just for youth, young minds stories. We just did it last October. And before that, we did competitions called Freud's Got Talent, a bit like Got Talent, but it was all about ideas for how to spread awareness through music, through art, through poetry. So all of those. So it's quite a lot and a big things, which were really nice because it made us feel good. Now, because of what's happening around us, and because May is usually Mental Health Month, and Mental Health Week is within these days, which I'm thankful that I'm doing this interview in this amazing week. So that's really good. It's spot on. Everything happens for a reason, even though we were thinking of doing it earlier. See, things happen for a reason. So we're doing the first webinar now with what's going on around us. I've taken a bit of the positive side of it. I've taken the side of let's learn something new. Let's think out of the box, because you have two options here. You can go into that option, which is there, and it's sad, and I acknowledge that. I'm not ignoring it. People have lost their life and people are not feeling well. But also there's another side where you can actually pause a bit, rethink what you want to do, learn new things. For me, technology is something I use, but not as much. So the whole webinar is going to be on the 30th of May. And we have people in Oman and outside of the Sultanate, which is quite interesting, and I hope it works out. It's a challenge. I love challenges. And also, in this time, we've also done 13 helplines at society, giving back to society. So the 13 helplines are with different languages, and it's for COVID and people who are going through any type of, psychological issues. And we know now with what's happening that most likely PTSD is going to be something that will be happening after this. So we're trying to also level the curve of problems with mental health now, so it won't be that big later on. We're trying to just show the positive side of that. So basically on the 30th, we didn't even call the talk anything to do with Corona or pandemic or COVID. We talked it healing beyond, we named it, healing beyond the aftermath.
Yeah, we saw some posts.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, because we thought we don't know when this is going to end. And I always tell people, just live day by day, because that's the only thing you can do. If we keep on thinking, when is it going to end? It's going to be very tiring for us. So we should live day by day and make this a new norm for now. So the whole conference is about healing beyond the aftermath. So basically, if you heal inside with all these, information and all that, you'll be able to face things and you'll be able to function. And also, it's teaching you, it's not about you, it's about everyone as well, the whole world. And that's something we need to learn, because we've been living in a world where it's all about me and I'm okay, I'm safe, then it doesn't matter anyone else. But this, if anything, has taught us that no, it could happen to anyone, and you just have to be ready for things like this. So we're calling it Healing Beyond the Aftermath.
I wish you all the luck in the world, and it sounds amazing.
Thank you.
I will be joining.
Yeah, please do, and everyone, please just join us. Would love feedback, and God help us with where our life is connected by a wire now. So if the internet works, if it doesn't work, that's it.
Now I'll get used to it a bit.
Yes, I hope. I was just telling my team, everything will be well if as long as the internet is okay. Things will work out. But yeah,
fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed.
The other thing I want to ask you is for people who knows there's something wrong, like if I have any psychological problem and I'm aware it is as the first we call it like stage, I'm aware that I have something wrong, but there is also a social pressure. If I went and I asked for help, will people call me crazy? If I there are lots of if and is it right thing to do? Will I be mental if I did it? So I want your opinion.
So the whole idea of Not Alone was this, the stigmatization of mental health, which I always tell everyone, it's stigma everywhere in the world. There isn't one place in the world where people are like, oh, we're cool with it, it's fine, because it's a very personal thing. The only difference is some parts of the world do very good awareness campaigns and some don't do. But everywhere in the world, I've traveled quite a few places, it's never okay to say that 100% okay to say, oh, I have this kind of issue. Okay. Although we as therapists always say it's okay not to be okay. That's the normal. I mean, you're a human. So through these campaigns and through these talks, the more you make it simple and more real and more through storytelling, that's what we do, the more it gets to people that it's okay. Like, for example, today we're doing this interview and we're talking about beauty, we're talking about internet, but it's really about mental health in the end, which every one of us in the world goes through something to do with mental health. There is no one who's like nothing happens to them, and that person who says that has a huge problem. The difference is that everybody has it in different levels. Some people know how to deal with it, and it's balanced. And when is it not okay? When it's not balanced, and that's when you have to seek help. I always advise people seek help, because in the end, if you're worried about people, when you hurt and when you're not okay, it's you and you alone. Because there is some parts of you, it's you and you alone. Yes, even if somebody's there to help you, but they don't know inside of you. So you need to seek help in the beginning. Don't wait until it's level 5.
I think that's a good point, because some people call it like it's anxiety. I'm gonna be fine. Things build up.
Yes, and it depends. If you're able to deal with it, you have a mechanism. Okay, roll with it. But if you don't have a mechanism and it's going out of control, it's not a normal anxiety. I mean, anxiety is normal when you're presenting, when something new is happening. Now we're going through anxiety and fear because of what's happening. That's normal. But when it's beyond, so a lot of people now are saying, oh, with this, people are more anxious. People have been anxious. This has just made it a bit more. They were like that, and now it's magnified. And because all of us are going through it. But look, if you notice in your group of friends, everyone is different in dealing. So there's some that are not dealing at all, and they need help. And they need to acknowledge that when they go to a therapist, the therapist is not going to judge them. The therapist is there to listen and to guide them. Because that's sometimes the issue, that they worry that somebody's going to judge them.
We're talking about mental health issues, but also I want to talk about overcoming challenges, because you are someone who overcomes challenges. About how you started, you are the first clinic in Muscat, Oman to do what you are doing. Also, I would like you to tell us more about how you deal with challenges and how we can deal with challenges anyway.
Okay, so I always the challenge for me, I just found out, like, let's say 6 years ago. So people always ask me this question: what's your challenge? What's your challenge? And I'll start and be very philosophical and say, it's this and it's that and all of that. And only maybe 6 years ago, My challenge was actually me this whole time, because I would judge myself. Okay, I'm not doing enough. Okay, I have to do harder. If I'm doing a clinic, it has to be different. So when I say it's the first clinic of its kind, so again, I have to make it different. But that's because I'm like that, because I like doing things different. I love challenges because I feel without a challenge, life is tasteless.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if we had no challenges. I know people think that's amazing. It's not, because it's not normal. You'd
What
be just
what
floating,
keep going?
floating. Yeah, exactly. You won't, and then you'd be very weak. If something hits you, you'll collapse completely because you never fought before. You know, everything was so easy. And
Yeah.
when you get spoon fed and everything is easy and there for you, you're not growing. A challenge happens when you want to be different.
Yeah.
Now, it depends what different do you want to be. Do you want to be different creative? Do you want to be different in a bad way, in a good way? Either way, it's a challenge. Challenges are not there when you don't want to be different because there's nothing to challenge.
Yeah.
It's tasteless. You're just sitting and you're just rolling with it. So when people tell me, but challenges are so difficult, and they do these big talks about how to face your challenge, and I tell people, but what is wrong with having a challenge? Actually, what is wrong with failing? I mean, failing, if you don't fail, how are you going to know how it tastes like when you succeed?
Yeah.
Imagine you're just succeeding the whole time, then one day you just drop. And that drop can teach you or it can break you. It's a challenge.
I
And
think
that's something you need to know.
it will be at the start, maybe at the start of everything you will do. It will be the challenge.
It's a challenge. And you're the challenge, by the way. It's not even things around you, because you can accept what's happening and you cannot accept. So you're challenging yourself. And once you have that realization that you are the challenge, so a lot of times, even when we want people to change, we're like, well, he needs to change. Well, she needs to change. Well, what about you?
Yeah.
You change to see how it will work with him, and it's going to work. But if we keep on throwing it on others and saying it's their fault, yeah, okay, let's say it is their fault, but then what shall I do? Shall I just sit there and mope about it? Or should I challenge myself? Now, some things are very hard. When we talk about wars, when we talk about sickness, that's big. And I'm always inspired by these people who go through that and come out of it. Of course, when they come out, there's damages. I'm not saying that they come out, like like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But they've gone through the worst. They are the strongest now. And they have challenged themselves by not collapsing, by moving on. And that is the biggest challenge of all, yourself.
That's in that's really important what you're saying, because we all have this, I don't know what they call it, a rush of I can do it.
Yes.
And there is, from the first step we go into what we want to do, if we have difficulties or whatever, we lose motivation. So
Yes.
yeah, it is all here.
That's true. And you can lose motivation. Look for that person that brings back that motivation. Look through yourself and look through a friend, a family. There's something that motivates you. It could be something people don't even understand how it motivates you. But you have to find that hook, that link to make you move. And that's why even now, even though we're doing physical distancing in the time of Corona, but we should keep that emotional connection and ask about people, because sometimes that's what we need. We need that. We can't live alone. Living alone is not normal. You have to. We're brought in this land and this world to be together. Two kind of idea. So basically, connecting with someone also helps to be inspired. It helps to, if you're breaking down or you're not feeling okay, you need to talk to that person. And that's why we always say you're not alone. And that's why we call our campaign You're Not Alone. So we call it Not Alone, نحن معك. Not alone is in English, نحن معك, we're with you. So it's a continuation. And we did that to show that it's a circle. It's a powerful circle that you can do and you can deal with. And as much as people say, oh, it seems that you're a therapist, you don't have issues. I have issues. I mean, it's normal. And if I say I don't, I'm not, there's something really not okay. I have issues. Everybody has issues. It just depends on how we deal with it.
Yeah. So Sayyida Basma, if anyone wants to find out more about what you're doing, is it Instagram or where they can find you?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram. I'm actually only active on Instagram. I do not like Twitter.
So I just the Basma and
my Instagram is Basma Al Saeed official. I can give it to you maybe later. And I'm only on Instagram, and I have only one account because there's a lot of fake accounts under my name. So please just be aware of that.
I've
So,
noticed that by the way.
yes. So I don't have a Facebook. I don't have a Twitter. I have LinkedIn. And I have Instagram, and it's enough for me. It's more than enough.
That's for people to join as well on the end of the month.
Yeah, please. We have a Not Alone account, Not Alone Oman, and you can register. Uh, please be patient with us because it's our first, and hopefully everything works out. And see, that's a challenge. If I didn't want any fear or anxiety, I would have said I'm not doing anything. But I want to go through it. I might not succeed, but it's a learning curve.
It is a learning curve. That's all what it matters.
Yes.
Sayyida Basma, I want to take you back to the effect of comparison or seeing things on social media. Now we are in a like an advanced step. For example, filters, using filters to look a certain way, to hide certain things on the face or whatever. People are taking it very serious to a level, as we said, people might commit suicide because of it. Is there a way of like advice or a way of we can like step back and protect ourselves from what's happening? Because it is so easy to get into the habit of like looking and comparing or feeding your brain in certain things.
I think the easiest advice I would give you is turn your back to it a little bit. Just turn your back. Stop doing this the whole time. I mean, it's a normal thing. If I'm on something the whole time, I will get affected. I mean, it's normal because I'm adapting to this environment. So limiting time, turning my back to it a little bit, doing other things is very useful, because the more I look at it, you can't lie and say I won't get affected, because you're looking at it night and day. So it's okay. You're a human. You can look and you can try out some things. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't even think there's an issue with doing filters sometimes. Actually, it's fine. If you just sometimes, for fun, or just you just want some kind of whatever, but not all the time. Not all the time, to the extent that I imagine a world with people walking with a filter in front of them, that kind of thing. And I think some people would love that, for example. But growing up like that, me as a parent also, I have to teach my children about it. If I'm like that, how are my kids going to be, right? And then therefore the society, because they're going to be part of the society. So it starts again with me. So basically limiting my time, not feeding it much, building myself, we go back to the building my self-esteem, that's a challenge. Just, accepting yourself. Now it's easy to say, just accept yourself and, all of this talk that we talk about, but really look inside yourself and see, what do you like about you? Some people say, I like nothing about me. There's a problem. Then there's a problem. You need to see a therapist. Then there's something wrong. We do see a lot of people that, again, if we go back to doing the operations, and doing so many multiple things to their face, and we've seen cases where people looked abnormal in the end. Because in the end, God, made you that way for some reason. Yes, some people have some default. You can fix it a bit, but some people think, I've done this, oh wow, now I'll do this, now I'll do this. Now they're never okay with it because their self-esteem is low. So even with the filters, it's the same idea. It's the same idea of the self-esteem, the not feeling good about yourself. So basically remembering your qualities, remembering the nice things about you. And I'm not going to be like philosophical and say the beauty within you shines on your face and all of that. But, some people, they're beautiful, but their attitude is so bad, it kills all of that. And then you see someone else who's beautiful in their own way, that way, and you actually link with them more. So it is about something else. There is something else. As much as people say, oh, whatever, what is this beauty inside and reflects your outside. But notice in your own group, some people are, they're just nice, and you like being with them because they're nice. And maybe that person who's perfect is not a nice person, and you don't want to mingle with them. So it's, again, it goes back to you. It goes back to what you believe. It's not even though your parents brought you up in a way, maybe they brought you up to do operations, for example, and you're not good enough and you don't look pretty. Maybe that's your parents, right? But you're older now, you know what's wrong and what's right. Now with teenagers, maybe it's even more difficult, and that's why we need to do all these campaigns. We need to get people educated about this.
That's very important. The point when you, and that's all fine. Okay, to take care of yourself. What is that? The point is to know where to stop. To know that there is a point. I'm harming myself. So take care of yourself is good. You have to take care.
The biggest message. I mean, you know, Lynn, if we think about it, about makeup and beauty, you know, it started a long time ago. The same thing, like I'm telling you about the letters. The same. Okay, where are the best mixed for beauties in history? The pharaohs. The pharaohs were the best when it came to milk and bars of milk and beauty lipstick and green and the eye. This was real. They actually did it from plants, from flowers. They got the colors. So the filter was there a long time ago, right? But then again, they also had. That doesn't mean they didn't have self-esteem. It's a natural thing. But then there's that, and then there's the extreme.
Yeah, that's the point. To be able to realize where I should stop here, or I should.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's to do with you again. You just have to have the self-esteem in you. I mean, you've had a group of friends, and you've had most likely that friend that's always not okay with how she looks, even though she looks so good. Every time you go out, I don't look okay, and you're like, oh my God, come on, just. And sometimes it just doesn't work, but that's how she is. Yeah. You try your best, but she just doesn't want to listen. And then you have another friend who just doesn't feel she looks okay in another way, because all her life people said she's not okay. So we have to accept that we're all different. So we have different ways to deal with things.
Yeah. And I think also that message is for women and men. So we are not...
Definitely. Yeah. And you know, I feel sorry more for men. Because men, even to do with mental health, I always say that it's very difficult for them to actually say, it's very difficult for them to actually say that we are not feeling okay, because they're brought up, you are men, you should not be weak, you know, you have to be strong, and that's not good, because even as a mother, I should bring up my child that they can talk about the emotions, because one day that man will grow up, he will have his own family, he will not talk about emotions, he might be aggressive to this family because he can't express it. So what have I made? I've created a monster, kind of. So we need to give them that chance to express how they feel, and not bring them up as in you're a guy, you're a boy, and you're a boy, you know, and you're a man. And that's in every culture. You're a man and you're a boy, and that kind of thing. So men also, most likely, they even have it worse when it comes to this, because, well, some of them. Now I notice a lot of men also do a lot of things to themselves. Yeah. So again, it's all human nature, first of all, and it's accepting yourself. It's accepting yourself.
Sayyida Basma, I would like to thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. I feel like I don't want to end the interview, but
thank you so much.
That's where
it's an exciting time, and it passed so fast, actually.
To carry on, and we all need to educate ourselves. So look for the professional people, the campaign you are doing, the events. We will all the best, Sayyida, so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. I wish you all the best, and I wish for this channel all the best. And thank you so much. And we're close to Eid here, so Eid Mubarak to everyone out there. And please stay safe, and please keep away and do the physical distancing, but connect emotionally.
Thank you so much. Very wise words. Stay safe and take care. Thank you.
You too. You too. God bless you. Bye-bye.